Hi. Let's see. Woohoo. Amazing. I'm so excited. Hello, Sendsparkers. Yeah. All right. We got a bunch of people coming in. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We got the chat going. Welcome, welcome. Yay. I'm so excited. Hello. Welcome, Sendsparkers. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. So excited to get started here in just a few minutes. If you're in the chat, please say hi. Say hello. I want to see some names. I want to see who's here. So many names that I recognize. This is so cool. Hello, hello. Yes. And we're going to use the chat as well. So we're going to use the chat too. And later today, we're going to have some Q&A, but I'll wait a few more minutes for everyone to join. While you're here, feel free, if there's anything you want to add in the chat, feel free to add a question or something that you're curious about or anything like that. So that way I make sure that we get that answered, but feel free to start asking some questions in the chat so we can get that moving. And then what we'll do in a little bit, we'll also do some Q&A at the end as well. So we'll get started in just a little bit. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. Love to see. Ooh. Zapier automation demos would be great. Yes, we're going to do a lot of these webinars because we really want to make sure that we're helping everyone sell and be great sellers and use Sendspark to the absolute max. So let's see. I like the little party thing. I have my kitty cat. She's trying to come up here and say hello to everyone. I'm like, not now, girl. All right. Almost 40 attendees. That's really cool. I love this. I love this. And if these are helpful, again, we're definitely going to do more of these. Today's going to be pretty introductory, just kind of diving into it. But if this is super helpful, then we can even do ones that are more specific. So maybe we'll do webinars that are specific with certain tech stacks or certain tools like Zapier, for example, or Sendspark and Clay, or how you can leverage Sendspark and Apollo, or all of those different things. So I think that would be pretty cool as well. Yes. So good. Alrighty, so we're gonna get started. We'll be high level from the beginning today, but like I said, as we start to do more of these, we'll hop into more specific. So today's the first of so many of these webinars. My name is Melissa Gaglione. I've been selling using video for ever since I started as an SDR. It has really helped me completely transform the way that I sell, the way of my career path. it has been a really amazing process and also very fun because to me, a video is very fun. I get to be creative, I get to be myself, I get to be a little research driven and really dig into some things, and I get to tell a visual story or really explain that. So I'm really excited to be here with you all. This is such a dream come true to be part of the Sendspark team. And like I said, we're definitely going to do a lot more of these videos all together, doing a lot of these webinars. I really want to help our Sendsparkers get, you know, the most that they can out of our tool and to be super successful and really, gain a lot of confidence through video. What's so beautiful about video is that when you practice and we're going to dive into how it could be a little awkward to even record yourself and to be on camera and all of those things too. But it can be a little tough to get started and it could be a little scary to put yourself out there, but what really helps with it is that when you practice and you keep doing these different pitches and you keep trying different ways and different messages and even going after different types of people in your sales process, you really start to build up confidence. And it's going to be these transferable skills that you're going to have beyond just, sending a video. It's going to show in your sales practice. It's going to show when you explain something. And, we'll dive into all of that, but super excited to see you all here and let's get started. So video prospecting and selling. We're going to dive into it today. We're going to leave about, the goal is to leave about 15 to 20 minutes for Q&A. I want to make sure that we have some questions answered. When we get to the Q&A, what you'll do is you'll raise your virtual hand and then we'll select your name and we'll be able to add you to speak. So I do have Dennis who is raising his virtual hand. Do you want your hand raised, Dennis? Because we'll do Q&A in just a little bit. If you have any other questions, we do have Bethany, our CEO of Sendspark, in the chat. She's answering a bunch of questions as you go, even if it's something a little bit specific as well. So she's here as well as helping us out today. So not sure. That's okay, Dennis. I didn't put you on the spot. I almost showed you up on screen. You're almost right here. So glad I asked. Alrighty, so let's get started. Video prospecting and selling. The first of so many webinars, and we're going to do really, really some strong stuff with you all. Alrighty, so to get started, thank you all for joining. My name is Melissa Gaglione. I am officially the head of sales at Sendspark, which is crazy. I'm super excited to be here. This is such a dream come true. And like I said before, I've been leveraging video for a long time. So for me, video is actually quite, how do I explain this? It didn't necessarily scare me in the beginning. I feel pretty comfortable with video. However, there were certain times, and when I talk with a lot of other reps, I really want them to gain a lot of confidence and understand that, yes, it can be really scary to be on video. And how do we overcome that barrier? Because at the end of the day, video is such a powerful tool. Not everyone's using it. It's a really great way for you to stand out. And sometimes you just need to get over that little hurdle of feeling a little bit uncomfortable so that way you can just, excel and just learn and be more yourself. So video is a really great time for you to show your buyers who you are, for them to connect with you, really warm you up and things like that. But super excited. Reason why video is so successful is it's because it's in our brain, right? 95% of our brain, the information is processed by the brain is visual. So yes, I can read, I can write, I can listen, I can touch. Those are all different types of learning ways. But the brain really functions and we really learn when we're actually watching something. So before I got into sales, actually my very first role out of college, it wasn't even a role, it was a career. And I was an education teacher. I was teaching elementary school for a couple of years. And part of teaching kids was really understanding how they learn. Some might be kinesthetic, which means that they have to touch or do or make something. Maybe they need to draw or something like that. Other students might be a little bit more auditory, where they just need to hear the information and they understand it. But the one thing that got everyone to understand something was if I could find a video to teach them something, to, reinstill some of this information, it was amazing how much more they were able to retain that information. And so when you get emails, even when you get voice notes or when you're on the phone with people, right? You're not actually able to get them all the information, or not that you can't get them all the information. They're not going to process it as well as if you had it on video. And I'm sure many of you get emails and sometimes you read through them and you're like, you might just not even skim through it or really watch it or really read it. But video gives you that opportunity to educate and entertain your buyer. And they're also really able to process that information. So that's why it's really powerful, because we're getting our buyers to really, it just clicks. So how do we get it to click, right? How do we keep sending videos to get it to click? The other piece of this is that 82% of people actually prefer to watch video. Feel free in the chat. Do you prefer watching videos on social media posts? Do you watch information? Is that how you get your information? Or are you someone that's looking for these blog posts as well? So many of us are going, and especially if you've seen LinkedIn, it has that new scroll feature to watch videos. We just watch videos all the time. It's spoon feeding the information, but also we're learning so much easier. And there's a lot of yeses in the chat too. Your buyers are also on social media. They are also just like you. They're not these, unique, creatures out there. They are just like you and I. They learn very similar. They watch videos as well, and they prefer it. And then finally, our last statistic that we're going to focus on is that 95%, this is such a crazy number, 95% of B2B buyers say they want video content. And I don't blame them. They're reading emails all day. They're on Slacks all day. Sometimes they just want the information spoon-fed to them. Sometimes they just want a break from reading emails and communicating over Slack and doing all those different things. And truthfully, if you have a video that's really compelling and also entertaining them at the same time, they're going to want to learn it. They're going to want to continue on. So there's a bunch of different ways on how you can leverage video in your sales cycle. We are going to focus today primarily on the prospecting piece of it and how to bring them in, but your buyers want this. So how do we make it easy for them? How do we give them video, not just at one piece of the sales cycle, but throughout the sales cycle? Maybe through nurture campaigns, maybe through event invitations, things like that. So here are a few different ways that you can leverage video. So many. And I've done every single one of these because I want to leverage video as much as I can. So a few examples, and you'll notice that I have them in different colors, right? 1 and 2, cold prospecting and dead opportunities kind of go hand in hand, right? The way that you're going to present information in both cold prospecting and dead opportunities are going to be quite similar. You're going in maybe a little bit colder or maybe a little bit warmer with a dead op, but you're really trying to get them to be interested in what it is that you have to offer. This is also a time where you're probably pointing out some problems or some pains, or maybe something that you can identify that this prospect could be experiencing. This is also some of those trigger events, like if you're selling into like a sales org or any type of org, maybe you see that they're hiring in certain locations. Maybe that's the trigger. You notice that they're hiring in specific departments. That could be a trigger for you to reach out. Another trigger could be dead opportunities, right? Once they are an opportunity that, is dead, which means that, they started the buying cycle with your company and now they've left. Maybe you see that they have recently, got to do new tech, or maybe you want to follow up with them and maybe try to revive the opportunity with something new that your solution has to offer now. Maybe there's a new feature that you can share with them. Maybe there's something that you can update them on that could kind of bring them back. Video is a really great way for you to show that feature, that change, why they should come back, instead of just writing it in an email of, hey, we did this. Next is going to be nurture campaigns and event invitations. Again, these are also the same colors because they kind of go hand in hand. Nurture campaigns. Nurture campaigns are so secretly underutilized. Nurture campaigns, if you've been an SDR or an AE or an AM or a CSM, you know, nurture campaigns means that this is someone who, or a buyer who had shown some interest, but maybe now's not the right time. And it's not totally a dead up because, you know, it's not like you're reintroducing yourself to them. But a nurture campaign is going to be maybe a sequence that you have set up where you send them an email once a month. I've seen reps do this where they want to keep them updated on like a newsletter sort of format. So if you want to send one video and you want to send it at scale to your nurtures, to all of your sequence, and maybe that quick video is you just going through, you know, here are some of the updates, here's what you can expect, here's a customer testimonial or an example there. Maybe if you have a new integration, right? Something like that you can set up automated where you have that one video, you send it to the masses, and it is going to be more a little bit about your product, things like that, but you're keeping them engaged and you're making sure that they're staying up to date on what your solution can offer. And again, in a visual way, it's really going to show it. The next is invites, event invitation. Anyone here? I'd love to see it in the chat. Anyone here send webinars or event invitations or even in-person events, or hey, we're going to be at this booth, booth number 782, we'll be there. Anyone do those event invitations? I did this a lot when I was in SDR, local events, so cool, right? And what I found really great success when I was doing the event invitations was I just wanted to create FOMO. I really wanted them to see that this event was cool. I really wanted them to see who else would be there, maybe what the space looks like. Maybe I want to show them some of those things, right? So you're welcome to talk about it in your video. You're welcome to create a slide and just say, hey, this is what the event will look like, or this is the place, or really drive that attention for them to want to come. And you're going to want to create a little bit of like a FOMO where they're like, wow, that sounds really cool. But it comes out a lot better again when it's a video and they see what it could look like. They see some of the people that are going, and you can do that at scale as well. All right, the next one is going to be 5 and 6, kind of go hand in hand. These are your custom demos and your features, as well as answering questions and guided next steps. So this is a little bit more for maybe my SDRs who are doing a handover process to the AE. Maybe this is AEs and AMs who are actively selling the deal, as well as CSMs, right? Having pre-filmed custom demos, custom features that are in your Sendspark account. You can save files and just write that you recorded this video, you have that there, this little feature there. What's important about doing those is you want to keep the videos really short and very strategic. So if it's about signing up, if it's about, changing maybe something in your platform where they have to make an account, or they need to, if you're doing a sales product, like how to upload a CSV, or maybe if you're selling to HR, maybe it is how to add an insurance plan, or something like that you would do in the demo. That might be a little bit further. If you start pre-recording those and just creating an organized file, there's so many ways that you can leverage it. One, as an SDR, if you have someone that's saying, yeah, but can you do this? Boom, you just copy and paste and just send that video right over. So now you can prove like, yes, we can do that. You can have the calendar link already set up. So now they can see the full product later on. But these are more of like those one-offs when you have those specific questions, especially when you're trying to book a meeting. For your account executives, your account managers, right? For them, same thing, as you're starting to progress the deal, you might not be able to show them everything on that demo. So you might want to follow up with them with maybe 3 major videos, each about a minute 30 seconds long, or one big video if you wanted to do just one, but just following up with those videos of maybe some things that you didn't yet cover on the demo with them. Maybe if all of a sudden, you want to just keep the conversations going and it's been a few days and maybe tomorrow you're going to present pricing. This might be a good time for you to send over another video right before pricing of something really cool that maybe you couldn't cover. Maybe your tech has a really cool AI that they can ask questions to. Maybe they asked you something that you wanted to follow up with a video on instead. So leveraging video beyond just the initial prospecting and leveraging it throughout the sales cycle and having some of those pre-built videos already sent in or already created are really going to help you accelerate your deal cycle as well as your handover process too. Same thing with answering questions. How many SDRs here will go to an AE and say, hey, can we do this? Or a prospect really needs to see if we can accommodate XYZ. And it could even be something a little bit more strategic or even something about like certifications or maybe if you do different languages, things like that. If you can then send that over, it's proof. Yes, we can do it. Here's what it looks like. Because a lot of buyers just hear that from sellers. Yes, 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 yes. But if you can show it to them, that's really great. Also, this is helpful for guided next steps. So after you have a call, or maybe you're on a cold call and you say, hey, maybe you weren't able to book the meeting on the cold call. If you want to end that with, how about I follow up with a video? Following up with the video is really strong because now they can see what it was that you were talking about. Going back to that brain and them understanding like, wow, video, and it's really resonating with them. Maybe they didn't fully understand the pitch on the call, but maybe if you can follow up with a video and then show it to them afterwards, maybe they'll be able to understand. This also helps with next steps. So my SDRs passing deals over to AEs. If you want to send a video that maybe you've already pre-created with our dynamic AI, so it's really easy for you just to send these off. But maybe if you want to send a video before the meeting, like, here's what's like, hey, John, I just wanted to go over that tomorrow you'll be meeting with our account executive and he's really going to dive into about these 4 things. And you can send that over as well. Just another touch point too. So that's a few examples. And then the last ones are going to be more for account managers, CSMs, of course, some AEs too. But if you want to get recordings of client testimonials or onboarding and guided next steps for that handover, that's going to be very helpful as well to have that in there. So out of all of these, today we are going to talk primarily about cold prospecting and some dead opportunities as well. But I just wanted to outline that video can be used in so many different steps of your sales cycle. I'm just going to review the chat for a second. Oh, wow. Jason with the 75% close rate so far. I'd love to talk to you a little bit later and have you share that story if you don't mind when we go to the Q&A, if you would raise your hand. I'd love to hear that. I also love seeing that Hannah has a lot of luck as an SDR sending pre-meeting videos as a reminder. I love that too. It also just helps, again, like you're human, like almost like you should show up because I'm a real person and you're using all of our time here. All right, so let's go into obviously the basics. We know this, but I want to make sure that everyone, we go over it, of course. Appearance, you do want to dress professionally, clean background. You don't want anything distracting, right? You do want to be in a light room. You do want them to see your face, right? You want them to see your expressions. If you have your laptop, that's great. If you need to upload a video, you can do that too. But ideally, you want to just, keep everything on your computer just to make it easier. So that way you don't have to do a bunch of things. Tonality really is important. So when you are talking to your prospect, you don't want to talk too fast. You don't want to talk too slow. You just want to kind of practice how you're explaining things to a prospect. So you want to have a clear voice, a good pace. And if you're talking about an event, then you want to make sure that you're being very excited when you're talking about that event. You don't want to talk like this. Like you don't want to down it. You want to up them. You want to make them very excited about it. And then your purpose, whenever you're recording a video, you want to know exactly why you're reaching out. So if you want to write down a script, or if you want to have like a little bit of a plan and have an idea of what you want to say or what you want to focus on, just write that out so it's a little bit clear. And this is something that I hear a lot of, where people get really nervous or really scared or they overthink our videos. And a lot of times that does create a barrier and prevents people from wanting to send videos. And what I tell people all the time is that when you have knowledge and you feel really good about an account or a sequence or a campaign or the reason why you're reaching out, that is going to show in your video and that's going to show in your confidence. So when you have that knowledge and you're like, okay, I know my ICP so well. And I know that when this trigger occurs, that this really resonates with them. It's gonna really show in your video. And don't let the fears prevent you from actually putting yourself out there. Because also at the end of the day, the prospect isn't sitting there going, oh, like let me look at this person and let me see what it is about them that I can pick them apart for. Like they're not looking at that and they don't really care. Nobody's really looking that closely. But what they do want to know is, are you wasting my time? Is this person wasting my time? Or do what they have to say actually very important and very helpful, or something that I can take back from, or something that I've learned from? So knowledge is confidence. If you really believe in what it is that you have to say, it's going to be shown in your video. So have a lot of purpose when you're creating videos. You don't want to waste your buyer's time. You want to enhance the sale. You want to enhance the trust. You want them to go, wow, this person totally gets me, or wow, that was very helpful, or wow, I learned on that video. So a few examples here. This is the way that I go about my video prospecting. And as you know, if you're not using Sendspark, which, when I first started, Sendspark wasn't yet Sendspark yet. First started, I mean, as an SDR and first selling videos. And so Sendspark wasn't really, Sendspark yet, which thank God it became Sendspark, because it was scary in the beginning when I would have to send videos to prospects and it would take me like 30 minutes for one video. And I had an SDR manager or, any leader that would just be like, you spend 30 minutes making a video, like how many cold calls could you have made? And if I wasn't hitting my number or if anything like that, I was putting myself at risk because, yeah, I spent this much time making videos and I wasn't really following, the KPIs that they wanted me to do. So it was this weird balance of how do I show that these videos are worth the time, but I can't waste my time there. So you want to be strategic when building out your video plan. And when you're curating videos, you can use Sendspark for all of this. And it makes it a lot easier for you to actually send videos at scale. But curating your videos, there's going to be 3 major buckets that I would suggest. The first one is your one-to-one video curation. This is where, you don't mind taking a little bit of time to make a video for one person, but then you can use that video a little bit more, maybe a little bit later on. Okay, Jason, it's okay. Maybe you can use that video a little bit later on. So this is more for your economic buyers, maybe something just a little bit more specific. Maybe you just want to take the time to make something just one-on-one. Now, when you start using our dynamic AI, that's when you can start really reaching the masses, because the one-to-one is going to take a little bit of time. But when you do one to few is when you're being specific about the campaign. So when I'm in Sendspark and I want to send out some dynamic AI, I'm going to make a campaign that's a little bit more targeted. So maybe I'm doing a specific use case. Maybe this is a video all about how I've noticed that they've increased in hiring in their sales team, or I've noticed that they are looking for more reps. And when I go to make that campaign, I'm looking at all the companies in my books that are hiring for more sales members. So that way, when I send the video at scale, it's resonating with every single one of them because I know that all these people are hiring. Maybe it's a specific use case, or maybe I could see that, hey, these are all the people in my book that are all using HubSpot. I'm going to send them a video about the HubSpot integration. That's helping you get from something that's a little bit specific, but still resonating and being personalized at scale there. So you're going to want to bucket it. If you can do multiple buckets, so if maybe I'm doing brand new or hiring SDRs plus HubSpot integration, that's even more specific, right? Yes, there's going to be fewer people in my book of business that do that, but that might be worth my time to make a campaign so that way it's even more strategic, but I'm still hitting a bunch of people at once instead of doing it one-to-one. So really, you don't want to do a lot of these one-to-one videos, truthfully, because they do take a lot of time. You want to focus the majority of your time here. So if you go and you start doing, okay, I have my specific use case or a specific example or a specific trigger, that's going to be my middle of the funnel. That's really ideal. If you want to do some more things like a little bit more like event invitations, right? Those don't need to be that specific. All you need to know is that they're in a certain location or maybe a certain title, but you don't need to know the trigger or the tool that they're using or anything more specific. So when you're doing one-to-many, you can make a campaign that's maybe specific about event invitations, or maybe this is more of like your nurture campaign, right? Something that you're just proactively reaching out about prospects or keeping them in the know. Maybe you want to keep them up to date on some news articles, right? That can resonate with so many. To dive in a little bit more here, when you're building out your campaigns, like I said before, we have our one-to-one, our one-to-few, and our one-to-many. So you kind of want to build it out. The ones in purple are really where you're going to save the time, use the dynamic AI, but every once in a while, you do have to do a one-to-one video that's a little bit more strategic. However, you can still be strategic when you're doing one-to-few and one-to-many. So one-to-few to me is the sweet spot because you're getting your videos out to a lot of people and you're doing your videos based off of multiple reasons. So it could be industry as well as that trigger. It could be industry trigger and maybe a automation that you can show. So you want to bucket it based off of that so that way you can send things out to many. A few more examples just about that, just because you do want to come at it at a strategic way. How can you bucket it? How can you make it more specific? How can you start adding some of those videos and doing more at scale, but it's still being very resonating. It's really resonating with each buyer there. So as we start to wrap up, because I do want to leave some time for us to go into the platform a little bit, I do want to hear as I go to transfer over and go into this. I know, Jason, you have to leave at 12:50, but I'd really love to hear your story if you're cool with that. And then I'll hop back into the Sendspark platform and we'll do a little bit more of an example and how you can use it. And then any other questions that we have, we'll definitely have a lot of time for a Q&A. I really want to make sure that everyone's questions get answered because, this is this is what we're here for. We're trying to really help you all as much as we can, okay? So Jason, I'm going to go ahead and add you as if you want to share your story. I'm going to click allow to talk. You ready?
Oops.
No, that was right.
Hey. Yeah, Melissa, thanks. And thanks for doing this video. This is terrific. I'll give you two stories.
Ooh.
Um, the chief revenue officer for a software startup here in Canada. I implemented video for mostly follow-up calls after every meeting, sales meeting, and every proposal. And we became top 100 fastest growing companies in Canada 3 years in a row. So if
Wow.
you're some feedback on that. And then when I left the day-to-day operations of that organization, I went out and I consult to help basically Microsoft partners work with Microsoft because it's very difficult. And since then, I've always followed up that meeting with a video presentation of the proposal that I've written.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're always in PowerPoint or in my case, Google Slides. And I present that, with my face, much like the webinar you're doing right now, so that they get the inflection and the intent in the words that are around the information that's in the proposal. Um, it's a shareable link. So if I'm sending it to the president or the CEO, they can share it with their team, get feedback. And by the time we get to the next meeting, everybody is informed. They've got their questions in line, and it's really answering the objections and questions there. And yeah, so far a 75% close rate using that. I believe that number is actually going to go up.
Do you feel that when you're sending these videos and you're keeping them up to date on it, that one, I mean, I have my own personal opinions, but one, are you standing out against your competition? And then two, is your sales cycle being accelerated?
So I'll answer number two first. It's definitely being accelerated. It really, really accelerates it. And yeah, we're totally differentiating, and I think it continues with that personal connection. I will say that we've added during the consulting um, work after a client has come on, we do weekly video updates. Again, keeping that personal piece, we can do a one-to-many, and it makes sure everybody's on track, even with the little things that you're doing on their behalf that they may not know about or may not show up in a report.
I love that. That's a really, and that's part of like that nurturing, right? Where you still can do one to many because you know these are the group of people that would benefit from this information, but you still can do it at scale, and it's still very relevant to them. That was an
Yeah.
excellent example. Jason, thank you so much.
I'll say one last thing before I take off is that I have found that my consulting clients extend their their engagements with us because of this as well, because of that regular update, and they're seeing that they're getting a lot more value than what they're paying for.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Jason. I know you got to hop for a meeting, so I didn't want to keep you too long, but thank you so much. I'd love to also, I'm going to go ahead and sorry, I have to disable you now. But thank you. I'll message you on LinkedIn just to say thank you as well. Alrighty, I would like to see one other example. I know that there was, let me go up. There was, who was it that said that they were sending videos before me? Oh, it was Hannah. Hannah, are you open to sharing a little bit about how you're sending pre-meetings? You don't need to put your camera on, or you're welcome to, but how you're sending pre-meeting videos? Yes, Hannah. Amazing. Okay, let me go ahead and add you as well. Hello.
Hello. Thanks so much for allowing me to share.
Yes, I'd love to hear about your success about sending pre-meeting videos. And if anyone else has found a use case or success, feel free to write in the chat. I'd love to hear it. Hannah, tell us a little bit about how you're leveraging videos to bring people more in pre-meetings, make sure that they show up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've had a lot of luck, throughout the last couple of years as like an SDR, adding that personalization via video. And, especially with, having people actually show up to meetings instead of no showing, which can always be tricky, as an SDR. I've had a lot of luck with, upping show rates, using video and making sure that the person knows you're a human. It can be tough with existing tools that are out there for scalability. So I'm super excited about this, that there's options now to make that process easier and more time efficient. So definitely recommend others in any outbound motion, add that personalization, add that video. It definitely goes goes a long way.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing. I think also if we can, we'll also, I'll message you on LinkedIn to ask you a little bit about what your tool stack is and what you guys are using, because maybe we can add some automation in place, kind of weave some of your tools together. So that way, maybe you don't have to always trigger it each time, but I'll definitely message you on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for sharing.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Amazing. All righty. And then let's take one more before oh, okay. And let's do one more before we move on. Melissa, I see that you've had a lot of luck with humor and corniness and using hats. I've never used a hat. Are you open to sharing a little bit about, some of the humor that you're adding in some of your videos? Yes, amazing. Yes. Guys, I love these. Okay, allowed to talk. All right, Melissa, let's hear it.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. Thanks for putting this on, Melissa. So I'm like a pretty silly, corny person myself. And so I work in CPG. So I talk to a lot of food and beverage companies. And so I bought like hats on Amazon so that I could stick out. And then I use like a lot of corny puns like related to those food items in the script. And people will respond just off of that. And then I also bought a poop emoji hat whenever like I'm like, was our offer shit? And that usually like at least gets a response if I get ghosted, like that helps.
Yeah.
So like doing silly stuff like that to like stick out, I think that was a lot more helpful compared to like, yes, a poop emoji. I did. It's a hat that I have. So that was great just because this person hadn't responded like for months. And then finally like they did. So it was just to kind of get that response. Using humor really goes a long way in so many ways in sales. So that's kind of one way I like to leverage it with videos. Yeah.
That is genius. And yeah, it really does. It really does go a long way. Because one, it's like, okay, again, going back to us all being human, right? It really does help when the other person connects with you. And if they can laugh, they're not really laughing at emails, guys. Not many people are laughing at an email that they got. But they can giggle and really connect with someone over video. I love that you have a poop emoji hat. I might have to get one. I used to when I first was sending videos too, and I was still trying to figure out like, this was a little bit early on, but something that weirdly worked for me was after I would send a video, and if I saw that they didn't watch it, I would follow up and be like, was it really that bad? And kind of like be a little self-deprecating there. But yeah, you can make a little jokes about it. That is so funny with the poop emoji. That's hilarious. Thank you so much for sharing. Alrighty. Okay, so some really fun stuff. That was really cool. Really enjoy it. We're gonna hop into the questions in just a little bit. I'm gonna spend about maybe 5 minutes, but I just want to show you guys that, of course, me being new to Sendspark this week, that means that I have a brand new Sendspark account that I'm adjusting and making more me. So I just want to kind of share the ideas and how I'm thinking about structuring or how I'm going to be structuring my Sendspark library. So that way I could be really efficient moving forward. So I do have my library. The team also has our own team library, but I'm starting to build these out of different folders of client testimonials, integration clips, some demo clips, prospecting new logo, some use case examples, and event invitations as well. So I'm starting to build out my folders, and I really encourage you guys to have these folders already set up or just thinking about, how do you want to do these? That way it just helps you get to more things at scale. I'm also going to show you a quick example. Our team library is also filled. You'll see I was being a little bit silly the other day. But we do have our team library of just a few examples here. So same thing, if you're leveraging with a team, it does help when you start to share these videos as well. So that way you can have it. We also are still using Sendspark as more than just sending out videos and prospecting. Like we do have an internal training folder too. So you can use Sendspark not just to be customer facing, but you can also do it here. With that, we do have our dynamic videos that many of you are starting to use. I started building out some of my templates too. So a few examples like my outreach template I've been working on, and I'm just still trying to build all these out, but I wanted to share with you all how the way that I'm thinking about how I'm going to build out my sequences are going to be based off of like my broad campaign of like a trigger. So if I could see that they're hiring in sales, and if I could see maybe if they're using a certain tool, or I want to kind of pair up some of those different relevant pieces, so that way I can send them to a few people that it's really going to be resonate and really help them, or really be clear to them. So if you haven't, or if you are not sure of our dynamic pieces, maybe you're just using us for sending videos, or maybe you're not on the dynamic side of it, or maybe you want more minutes or things like that. The dynamic piece is really what definitely sets us apart from the others as well. So on our next couple of webinars, I'm going to be sharing some of the campaigns that I'm sending out, things that are working with me. I'm going to be testing this and sharing what I've been seeing as well. So that way we're all learning together, and some of those examples too. So from here, I'm just gonna hop out of here and let's hop into, we have about 15 more minutes left of just some standard Q&A questions. Some of you might have some random questions about like, I don't know, like what time to send a video. It could be all over the place. So if any specific oh, we got a hand raise. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna allow you to talk, Natasha. Hello, Natasha, my fast hand raiser.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Hey, Melissa, how are you?
good. How are you?
Good. Okay, so yeah, I've been using Sendspark for a while, and to be honest, like, so I'm an account executive, and so I do some, I mean, we have SDRs who book meetings for me, but I do some of my own outreach, and so far, like, at my new company, I've been with them for a month now. Like, I've only been able to book meetings through cold calls, and I haven't been able to book a single meeting yet through video. And I think one reason for that is because I haven't been getting a lot of opens for my
Okay.
videos, which sucks, because like I get a ton of exceptions to my LinkedIn connection requests.
Mm-hmm.
So like just yesterday I got like 8, right? And these are all people that I've called, but they didn't answer the phone. And so obviously they're active on LinkedIn. And so my question is like, you know, do you have any tips on, because you do put a lot of work to, you know, create the video and send it. Is there a particular message that you send with the video to get them to open, or like what's your thoughts there?
So you're primarily sending over LinkedIn. You're not sending over email as well, or are you doing both?
No, just LinkedIn.
Okay,
Right.
definitely do both. Like, why not hit them on multi-channel? What's great about a video is that you can send it in multiple places, right? So typically when I send a video, if you can, let me give you an example here. But something that I think really helps is with Sendspark, have you made or have you done a thumbnail on any of your videos?
I usually do like the dynamic
Okay.
thumbnail.
If you want to pull, or if you want to try a thumbnail for a one-off just to see how that would look. And when you edit your thumbnail, if you could put what it's about in the bar, I can also, let me go ahead and pull up an example here. Let me just pull one up. But if you can, with the thumbnail, sometimes just doing it one off, I've noticed that a thumbnail, especially on LinkedIn, it just really helps. So let me go ahead, let me share my screen on a video that I have here. And we can do an example here where if I want to edit this, or edit the styles, or edit the preview, I can go ahead and add some of these text overlays as well. If I want to add a logo, so if I was targeting, you know, my old company deal, and then my text overlay would be like 60 seconds. And then what are you typically, you know, trying to get them in for? Like, what are you trying to show them in your video?
Yeah, so I work for Growth Engine, and what we do is we just aid like sales and marketing teams, and we're an outsourced BDR agency. So we just help them with their lead gen. And what I'll do usually is I'll send a note and I'll say like, you know, hey, whoever, thanks for accepting my connection request. And I'll say like, here's a 47-second video intro. And so I don't really go into what the video is going to be about. And that's another thing I wanted to ask you about is maybe I should mention what
Yes.
the video is about. Okay. Yeah.
100%. Because if it's an intro, then they're probably just like, eh. But like, because, you know, I would, and you don't want it to be like the benefit, going back into the pain analysis or what it is. So why are you reaching out to them? Do you see that they're hiring? Do you see that they, like, what is it that makes you want to reach out to this prospect, that your company can offer them?
Right. And then additionally, like kind of going into if you're going to do mass videos, like you said before, it's going to take a lot of time to do those one-on-one videos. And
Mhm.
so I also was curious to ask you about that as well. Like, you know, because not every video is going to be, you know, a tailored video because that's going to take a lot of time, right? So, yeah, how do you basically navigate that? Because I kind of have the same pitch for everybody, you know,
Mhm.
just kind of like what I would say on a cold call, pretty much. But again, like I feel like if they opened the video and watched it, then they would be more receptive. That's just kind of my issue, is
Yeah.
that it's not
They're
really
just not clicking it. They're just not
Right.
opening is what your challenge is. So yes, like I said before, you want to bucket it based off of trigger events. So if you can see that they're hiring, or if you could see that they got funding, or maybe something like that, some sort of trigger event that you can then bucket and say, okay, these are 10 companies that are experiencing this. These are 10 companies that are hiring, or these are 10 companies that maybe they had layoffs, right? Maybe that's the trigger too, is that they actually laid off their team, or they laid off sales, and you're coming in with a cheaper solution of being that outsourced BDR for them. That could be an option too. Or maybe now you're going off for the trigger of, wow, they're a small startup, or they're scaling, or something like that. And you're saying, okay, these are the 20 companies that are in my book of business that are all getting ready to scale. So now the pitch and what you can say in your message is like 60 seconds or however long it is. I like that you said 47 seconds because you do want it to be quite short. But if it's like 47 seconds, and maybe it's about reducing, or I don't know if I want to say reducing, but maybe we're doing you know, because I want to focus a little bit more on pain here, but increased BDR output, or inbound or output, something like that. Something that is a little bit more. We can definitely talk offline about some of the ways that you're phrasing it for sure. But that's what I mean when I say bucketing things, of knowing, okay, what are the different triggers, so that way I could bucket it. And then my video is about, okay, you're a scaling startup. Here's how you can outsource BDRs, because you know your cost if you were to start hiring them could be like 100,000, or you could outsource BDRs, and for 100,000, you're actually getting, you know, 5 BDRs or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I have a few other hands here, and I want to make sure I have enough there. But Natasha, let's link up on LinkedIn, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Melissa.
Show me a few examples and we'll kind of work a little bit, okay?
Okay, I will.
Thank you. Alrighty, Iggy, I'm gonna allow you to talk as well.
Yeah, sure, Melissa. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. By the way, congratulations. I'm really excited about seeing you as the head of sales at Sendspark, and you can bring us some of your amazing achievements to us.
Thank you. Happy to be part of this. Is so fun already.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Congratulations, Beth, by the way. So I've been using Sendspark for most likely cold emails. I'm a hiring agency that matches LATAM talent with the US remote first companies. So yeah, it's a really hard niche. It's a lot of competition. So I've like discovered that video, it's like a pattern interrupter. So it's like I'm getting a lot of traction out there. So it's like I'm using it mostly for like my initial outbounds, right? To like kind of like differentiate from my companies. And I am even adding personalization like via Clay for those emails. So I have like the personalization on like reading and the email, right? So I'm mostly doing my homework, but I'm a bit concerned on the deliverability issues that have been like on the last weeks happening on Outlook Gmail and the HTML stuff. So I was wondering, can we work together for like the best practices out there to like, because like email experts are telling us like don't shoot any HTML on the video on the emails, but then like the video is per se an HTML. So what would be like a safe spot like to do it? Or if that like, do you guys have any best practice sure like that you want to share with us? Like that's basically it.
I think that's a really good play as well. So I think that if we were to maybe gather a few more best practices when it comes to deliverability, but one question for you, are you using this? And maybe Bethany, if you want to hop in as well and maybe share what you've seen too. But at what point are you adding this into your sequence? Is it right in the beginning? Like when are you adding it?
What I heard is to add it like in the second email. So you just like first send them a like personalized message, and then just like, do you mind if I send a video? And whether if they respond or not, you actually send the dynamic video. So if they respond, you're gonna send them a personalized video. You know, like you're gonna spend the time to create a tailored video. But if they don't, which is the most of them, is like you're gonna shoot them the dynamic video. So it's most likely in the second one. And I'm not sure if in the follow-up I should like go back. I mean, like it's all testing, right? Iterating and testing, but just like one HTML, or in the second follow-up, I should like shoot out like, hey, here's the video. I want you to like take a look at it. So like trying to find the balance between like hurting deliverability and actually like putting the video up into the inbox, you know.
I'll just hop in here and say, I mean, it sounds like the way that you're doing it, where it's not the first one, should be fine, like completely fine. Using HTML or links or images or anything in your email, it is a ding for sure for deliverability, but it's not a death sentence. And especially if you know that people like want to receive a video, the benefit it adds for engagement are well worth it. But I would also say you don't need to send Sendspark videos as HTML at all. And so if you were to use it more for like top of funnel prospecting, things like that, you don't need to embed it as HTML. You can just send it as a link and image, which is a common way to do it and can be a little bit better for deliverability. For that, it kind of just depends on the email platform you're using, like if they're doing HTML emails or more one-on-one. But Sendspark will work within any of that. So we could take that offline or even do another seminar, like more focused on deliverability. But I would just say, like, if you don't want to use HTML, like you definitely don't have to begin with.
Oh, that'd be amazing, because I'm just following up what's on the website, right? Like like mostly using Instantly and Smartly. So I'm just like doing what
we use.
like what you guys like built. And so I'm just like, I'm not sure if that's HTML or not, but would definitely love to go forward with you.
Yeah, we'll talk more offline. I know just top of my head with Instantly it is like, because like their email builder is HTML, but with Smartly the integration we have isn't even HTML. It's just you're adding an image and then you're adding a link to it. So yeah, I don't want to take more time for this, but yeah, you let's definitely talk about it.
Yeah, thank you, Beth. I'll ping you on LinkedIn. That's so helpful.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go dark again.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. This is exactly what these should be for, is that like we learn something and then I think it's a good strategy of like, let's have a topic that we talk about. Let's hear some wins and let's go into the nitty gritty, because the point is that we want our Sendspark users to really be super successful with Sendspark. And that only happens when we iron out things like this, when questions are asked. So I think it's really important that we have these conversations and that we keep these webinars going and we keep this open forum going. So thank you, Iggy, so much for sharing. Your question was very valid. And maybe we should just do an overall deliverability webinar as well, and how to really make sure that your videos are being seen, because I hear that we're seeing that with our previous speaker as well. How do we make sure that our videos are getting to our prospects and that they're watching them? So I got a lot of thumbs up, a lot of claps there. So I think that may be our next one. I'm going to go ahead and pull you off. And we have one more as we start to wrap up. Dennis, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk. Hi, Dennis. Oh, Is that a pit bull? It looks like my dog. My dog looks just like that. You just might have to unmute, but your dog looks just like my dog.
Go. There we go. Now you can hear me.
Yes. Oh my
All right.
gosh.
So yeah, that's Pancake the Pit Boxer.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Okay.
all right. So I'm at marketing 30 years, own my own agency right now. What we do is turnkey podcasting for lawyers. And actually my comment, whatever you want to say, is kind of going back to Natasha and her LinkedIn approach. One of the things that is very much known about LinkedIn right now is you can't sell or have the perception of selling right away. You really have to like make that connection, then put out good content, comment on their content. That's why I pay somebody to work my LinkedIn, because I don't have time. But you actually have to be on there, participate in the groups, talk to these people, and then cultivate the right to talk to them. If you come into LinkedIn and connect and then try to sell, you're out. It's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just extremely rude in that area. And it has been that way for 2 or 3 years now, especially because of Shake and Stir, because you can't call as much and you have to have local presence and everything. So people went to LinkedIn a few years ago, and so it's just become so rife with people all over the world asking for a connection and then boom, selling them something. That if you want success on LinkedIn, you cannot take that approach. And that's probably why she's getting zero deliverability or opens, because they're looking at it going, oh, it's another salesperson, not another person looking to add value to my experience on LinkedIn. So that's the only thing I wanted to say, but go ahead.
I know there's a lot to agree with there too. LinkedIn has most definitely changed, and a lot of people don't want to hear the pitch too much. I think that if you preference and something that will take offline is going to be that message and really what it is that you have to offer there. Maybe not necessarily the sale, but maybe it's like, hey, I noticed that you commented this or something like that. And you do want to warm people up on LinkedIn. People are definitely getting more social, but I very much agree. It is very important that you're engaging on LinkedIn, that you're commenting, that you're getting to know people on LinkedIn too, and then using that trigger to follow up as well. Or even if you cold call and you leave a message, you could even say that like, hey, I'll send you more over LinkedIn, or kind of following up that way as well. It is getting tougher for sure, but at least video is going to help you stand out. And it does still have that personalization. I still think that sending a video cold is way better than just sending a raw message cold too, you know?
Well, yeah, but ultimately the best thing to do is to take that same video, make it more generic, and have 15 people in your thing watch it and put it in your feed, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you're saying
instead of doing one-on-one and the perception is selling, do onto your network, create a video that offers value in some way to the people that you serve, that you know would resonate. And that's kind of how, at least again, my understanding is where we're at with LinkedIn now. It's just, because I did that. I did that a while back. I just went in, I would, click, and then I, send them and nobody, I mean, it was just like crickets. And then as I started looking at it, because I hadn't really used LinkedIn for my agency forever, really, I looked at it and I was like, oh, because there's an expectation of a conversation. So then we had to set up a team to kind of run that. But yeah, if it's to the masses, or not the masses, but to your followers or the people that are linked in, and then you can see, then they comment on it, then that you got to draw them out. You can't, like, that inbox is not a back door to get them to talk to you right away. You have to kind of draw them out and then begin the conversation.
There's so much to LinkedIn. There's so much pieces to it for sure. Definitely agree. It also helps when you have a cute dog too that you can share as well. But yes, you want to connect. It is networking. It is getting to know people. And we'll talk a little bit about how to message and all of that stuff too. But thank you so much. Thank you everyone. I know we're a little bit over. So thank you so much. This is the first of so many calls that we're going to do, and I really want it to be this open forum as well. So thank you to everyone who shared. It was very impactful. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Let me know if you were here. I'm going to also check the to see who came in today, but thank you all so much, and let's do a lot more of these, and let's all win together, okay? Have a good day, everyone.